The evaluation of each student's on-the-job progress is one of the most important duties of the teacher coordinator. Evaluation is carried out during coordination visits and is usually accomplished by recording progress being achieved by the student in terms of three categories: work attitudes and habits, personal traits and characteristics, and skills acquired. When the evaluation process is performed by all the individuals involved in the training, the teacher coordinator, the on-the-job instructor, and the student will be more likely to understand what he or she has accomplished and what additional learnings need to be achieved. In addition, the on-the-job instructor and the teacher coordinator will then know that adjustments should be made in the on-the-job experiences to meet the learning needs of the student. This module is designed to give you skill in evaluating students' on-the-job progress. In addition, it will help you to revise the evaluation forms and procedures you will need to conduct these evaluations. Evaluating students' progress and acquiring the necessary occupational competencies on the job is one of your key functions as a teacher coordinator. It is through evaluation of students' progress by the teacher coordinators, the on-the-job instructors, and the students themselves that effective plans can be made to provide the students with the experiences they need to achieve their occupational objectives and career goals. Several specific aspects of each student's on-the-job performance will need to be evaluated. These aspects are progress in acquiring occupational skills, work attitudes and habits, personal traits and characteristics. Planning a systematic method for the evaluation of these three critical areas is crucial if the student's needs are to be effectively served. In addition, planning a formal evaluation process structured by standard forms allows you to derive a final grade that is objective and valid for each student. This grade will be based on documented evidence. In order to ensure that student progress is evaluated as thoroughly and objectively as possible, you will need to structure the process through the use of standardized evaluation forms. Such forms have already been developed by a number of sources, including state departments of education in individual states. Thus, you will probably be adapting forms or using existing forms recommended by your state or school district, rather than developing new forms of your own. You, as teacher coordinator, will need at least two basic types of forms. One for documenting each coordination visit you make, and one for evaluating specific skills and attitudes in a structured way. The form for documenting coordination visits should have space for standard information needed, such as student's name, date of visit, time of visit or length of visit, purpose of visit, name of training station, name of employer, on-the-job instructor, or training sponsor. The form for documenting the coordination visit should be at least partly open-ended to provide space for your general comments regarding the visit. For example, what did you observe? What actions did you take? With whom did you meet? What specific compliments or criticism were made? What tentative plans were discussed? What follow-up activities are needed? Two sample coordination visit forms are shown in samples 1 and 2. Note that sample 1 does not require the name of the training station or on-the-job instructor in the heading. However, sample 1 is divided into 3 sections, allowing you to document your contacts with the student and with the job supervisor or on-the-job instructor, and to add other additional comments. Sample 2 asks for detailed information in the heading, but then simply asks for comments. You could use either of these forms or a form recommended by your state or district, or you could develop your own. For example, you could prepare a form which allows you to make comments on specific areas such as observations, actions taken, comments made by student, comments made by on-the-job instructor, follow-up activities needed, and other. The form you use should be the one which best meets your coordination and supervisory needs. The forms in samples 1 and 2 are valuable in gathering general data on student progress. However, a second type of coordinator evaluation form should be of greater value in forcing you to evaluate the specific goals set for the student. This form should be more comprehensive and all-inclusive. An example of a coordinator's observation or evaluation report is shown in Sample 3. Note that after the heading, Sample 3 requires that the teacher coordinator comment on specific statements regarding the student's attitudes, performance of particular tasks, personal characteristics, interests, and strengths and weaknesses. These are the designated points to observe and evaluate. Additional space is then provided for indicating further actions which need to be taken or comments that were made by the students of on-the-job instructor. Before actually observing and evaluating the skills and attitudes identified in Sample 3, you would need to complete Item 2 by listing the specific tasks and skills in which the student to be observed is engaged. This list can be drawn from the student's training plan, which should include a schedule of tasks to be learned and or performed on the job. Using the training plan as a basis for your list also allows you to check to see if the training plan is actually being followed. You should not include on the evaluation form all the tasks listed in the training plan. Skills that will be undertaken at a later date need not be included. However, once a skill has been undertaken, it may need to be listed and re-evaluated on each successive evaluation form. In Sample 3, the right-hand column is headed Comments. You could choose instead to have a rating scale like poor, fair, good, excellent in the right-hand column for indicating how well the student is performing on each item. However, since it is neither possible nor practical for you to observe and evaluate a student's performance in all aspects of a job on a daily basis, using comments allows you to prepare a more meaningful general evaluation. The forms used by the on-the-job instructors need to be more detailed and structured than the forms you use yourself. The more straightforward and clear-cut the form is, the less chance there will be for misinterpretation of the ratings, and the better chance to ensure that all relevant areas of student performance get evaluated. The form should provide for feedback on whether the student is gaining competence on the occupation, the effectiveness of learning experiences, and strengths and weaknesses in the student's performance. On-the-job instructor also has a responsibility to evaluate the 3 areas of student performance: skills, work habits or attitudes, and personal characteristics. The skills can again be drawn from the training plan. The specific work habits, attitudes, and personal characteristics that are essential to job success should be included on the evaluation forms used by the on-the-job instructors. This will ensure that the evaluator will have a clear idea of what he or she is looking for when evaluating a student. Some of these types of non-technical skills may be included in the training plan, but in general, the following areas should be considered: ability to get along with others, speed of work, attention to details, attitude toward work, dependability, initiative, personal appearance, leadership abilities, job competence, response to supervision, quality of work, ability to follow directions, attendance and punctuality, responsibility, interest in learning, self-confidence, adaptability, and potential for success in the occupation. Each of the areas identified in the evaluation form can be discussed with the on-the-job instructor in order to identify specific priority attributes which are especially important. Then, more detailed terms can be developed. An item which asks the on-the-job instructor to rate a student's dependability is vague. The term dependability needs to be further clarified. 2 examples of on-the-job instructors' evaluation forms are shown in samples 4 and 5. Note how they further define the item on dependability so a person using the form is more sure that he or she is rating. Also note that Sample 5 does not include a list of specific skills to be evaluated. A separate form is used in West Virginia to assess that area. The form you finally devise should have space for identifying data, name, date, training station, etc. It should also give good clear directions for completion. Even so, the on-the-job instructor should not be expected to use the form or forms without your assistance. You should explain in advance to the instructor how the form is to be completed and what the items on the training scale mean. Some teacher coordinators have the on-the-job instructor complete the evaluation forms with their assistance and input. However, this is not required. Students should be directly involved in the evaluation process and may rate themselves in the same areas as the on-the-job instructor does. This self-evaluation could be done using the same evaluation form. In addition, the students should report to you weekly on the tasks they have done, the hours they have worked each day, their successes, failures and problems, and criticisms or compliments they received. Examples of two such weekly reports are shown in Sample 6 and 7. These reports provide you with feedback as to the student's work routine and job satisfaction and allow you to check attendance. You, as a teacher coordinator, need to complete a form each time you visit the students on the job or confer with a student or on-the-job instructor regarding a problem or student progress. At least one visit or conference a month per student should be planned. You may use a general form such as Samples 1 and 2 to document most of your calls. However, at least once during each grading period, you should use a more detailed form such as Sample 3 to ensure that you observe and evaluate key items. The on-the-job instructor needs to provide you with informal feedback each time you visit. In addition, he or she should evaluate the student's performance using a form such as Sample 4 or 5 at the end of each grading period. However, evaluation should be more frequent. Evaluation needs to be a continuous process. If evaluation of student progress and specific aspects of student performance is delayed until late in grading period, problems may go unsolved and minor problems may become major ones before they are noticed. 2 or 3 weeks after the student reports to the training station is too early for the first evaluation. The sooner problems are identified, the sooner and usually the more easily they can be solved. The evaluation of each student's on-the-job progress is one of the most important duties of